It goes nuts. But I am a fan of unassisted journeys, because it feels to me, if you take a drug and then see whatever you see, in the back of your mind, you always know, I was stoned out of my mind.
I was really high when it happened. I was really high. But I got to tell you, it was neat.
It was neat. And the dog spoke to me. So it's like, okay.
It's funny because I'm super pro psychedelics, like super pro, but mostly for healing.
Right.
Exploration is awesome, and finding parts of yourself, but just the ability it has to give you access to your subconscious and unconscious, as well as right now with like Pollan's book. I mean, good for Pollan for bringing it into the mainstream, because
Michael Pollan wrote this book on microdosing.
Yeah. What was it? How to Change Your Mind.
Right.
And right now, when we think about, mental health is a global crisis. In 2001, the World Health Organization put out a report that said 1 in 4 people suffer from mental illness. Now it's like 2 in 4 or 3 in 4, which makes total sense. And when you look at the turnaround rate for mental illness, treating it with psychedelic psychotherapy. So I don't mean like dropping acid by yourself. I mean like doing it in a therapeutic setting. When you stack that data against like what? The last 30 years of pharmacology, Prozac, Paxil, Wellbutrin, all that stuff, can't hold a candle.
Well, there's 2 different metaphors or 2 different models of healing. One is, how can a person with a mental illness maintain that mental illness and still function in this reality? Mm-hmm. Well, then take a daily antidepressant.
That's right.
If you want to actually, this person's is walking around with a distorted lens or a confusion, or is still bearing the weight of something that happened, if they want to, I hate to even use a word like this, but get better, if they want to transition, if they want to move on, that's something else. Mm-hmm. And then if you go to some psychedelic session, it's like you might do this thing once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's just talk through it.
Yeah.
So when you go, the South American shaman who takes you through an ayahuasca, they call it a cleansing.
Yeah.
I mean, they look at it's the same way you'd go for like your colonoscopy or something.
Yeah.
Like it's not, or a colonic or something. It's sort of a psychic colonic. It's like, oh wow, you're really holding on to this stuff your mom was doing to you when you were little.
Exactly.
Or you're really, I understand you're worried about politics and all that, but you have a personal attachment that you need to let go of in order to be more effective. And
so I saw a wonderful premiere of a movie that everyone should see. It's called From Shock to Awe. So it takes the shock and awe meme and makes it wonderful. And it's about veterans from the Iraq and Afghanistan war who are utterly crippled by PTSD, totally crippled. It is so bad that they basically fear for their children. That is how dead inside they are. They are so desperate, they do something like, one of them did 90 medications over a 4-year period. It's unreal. I mean, when this movie started, I wept. When it ended, I was still weeping. The movie is about how they go from this unbelievable trauma, this totally life-crippling trauma, where you can't even drive down the street because you're watching for an IED. Like, that's how bad it gets. They do ayahuasca ceremony, and they totally transform.
Management.
It was one of the most beautiful films I'd ever seen. But, I really, I think every American should see it, and I really think it should be screened before Congress.
What's funny, you look at that, and then you compare that to 60 Minutes did a piece in the 1960s about psychedelics being used for alcoholics.
Yeah.
And they were all getting healed.
Yeah.
Like without 12 steps of that, they were just like, boom, gone. And it was right before they were made completely illegal. Because, I mean...
Well, the guy behind Bill in the Big Book, the guy behind AA, I'm pretty sure the story is this. He reached out to Carl Jung and said, I need help. And Carl Jung looked at his case and said, nothing's going to help you except for like some profound religious crisis. That's the only thing that's going to help you, bud. And then the guy found LSD, and he had this vision of what he called a chain of alcoholics all over the world. And that gave him the idea from AA, supposedly. That's the rumor I heard.
Wow.
But yeah, LSD, AA is a psychedelic operation covertly.